6 in the morning, after 12 long hours of traveling by bus, Tashi Dorji and his wife, Youngzen, finally arrive in Delhi from Dharamsala. They do not have a moment to rest. In the next 12 hours, they will be busy picking out goods, packing and transporting them. At 6 p.m., they will drive overnight back to Dharamsala. Karl Bagh is a commercial block in central Delhi, India. The shopping streets here are known for its cheap clothing, shoes, and more. It's a paradise for vendors, tourists, and pickpockets. Tashi Dorji and Youngzen move quickly amongst the shops to purchase goods. Delhi has a great variety of goods and prices are relatively cheap. Tashi Dorji has lived in India for nearly 40 years and can converse fluently in Hindi with local store owners.
ये 130 का इसमें अजीब से ये तो ये वाला है ना मेरा हो गया वापस नहीं करते हैं वो बोले मेरा नहीं है काम नहीं कराना आज तक आप नहीं अच्छा किस तरह से रोटी खिला रहे हैं मेहनत कैसे कमा रहा है हाँ यही है पर कुछ नहीं है अब ये जाएगा यहाँ से 추세는 자가이나 버저 사사도 남기 욕부터라 그 드림 지달래도 어디 정말 야고
After selecting the goods, Tashi Dorji and Youngzen began to pack. In order to avoid taxes and inspections, they divide the goods into small packages and hire tricycles to transport them back to the hotel and bus station bit by bit.
삼삼 주래 주사나 사래 아니 잘라 녀겨도 배자 단단 떼어 다디 람도 요마 요래 근데 가자가 테테고 말아 테마된 테테나 캡상고 요하고 군서 기르고라 아니 잘라 버침보 말아 잘라 융융 있던 거라 다디 된데 뭐다 삼삼 주래 삼삼 다디 람도 개마게래 삼삼 주이래 주는 배냥게래 동랑아 두키로 좋네 다 삼삼은 주고 말해 다디 다 신앙 사셔디래 아니 강에도 빼야 돼. 답변이 들리는 키용도 몰람 재미 좀 내야 돼.
The sun is setting. Looking at his cart full of goods, Tashi Dorji starts to hum a little tune. But his wife, Youngzen, instinctively begins to worry about their 4 children at home.
아니 양단 다람때 총기도가 양 총대 양 술을 잡아도 게미요 미도 구마 게미요 근데 심심데 망보요
그냥 아주 드링데 드링나 로 마도나 양 룸다도 공체보치도 니로란 잡고요 가도이나 그냥데 되는 룸 공체보치 아니 야도 샤제샤제 로드는 프리부다니요 마라 샤제샤제 로드 드링나 드링 쇼글레 마 드링나 공다 로드 세 쇼게 추즈 두 책을 보도 못한 거야 야 삼디기야
From Delhi all the way north, through the vast northern Indian plains, Tashi Dorji and his wife Youngsen arrive at Himachal Pradesh, in the southern foothills of the Himalayas. Along the mountain roads, they continue to travel through the villages and towns in their sleep. After another arduous 12 hours and 500 kilometers later, they return to Dharamsala where they live. As night turns into day, Tashi Dorji takes out his prayer beads and begins to chant. Dharamsala is a famous tourist attraction in India because of its cool summer climate and beautiful scenery. It was once the summer capital of British India. In 1905, a major earthquake destroyed Dharamsala. It was not until the 1960s, when tens of thousands of Tibetans in exile were placed here, that it started to regain its glory. Dharamsala is divided into two areas, upper and lower. The population of lower Dharamsala is 10,000, mainly Indian natives. Upper Dharamsala, also known as McLeod Ganj, is where the Dalai Lama resides and home to CTA, the Central Tibet Administration. It is known as Little Lhasa and has a population of about 23,000. It is mainly Tibetans. Its pillar industry is the sale of small commodities by people like Tashi Dorji and Youngsen. When Tashi Dorji and Youngsen returned to Dharamsala, most of the residents in the city were still asleep. 8 o'clock in the morning is when Dharamsala is the cleanest. People clean up the trash from the day before to welcome a new day of business. But 10 years ago, the situation here was completely different.
I said small and dirty, right, Dharamsala, with no concept of a sidewalk where people, drive. That's a sidewalk. And garbage, trash everywhere. They basically throw anything on the street.
I was told by one of the officers of CTA that one of the Chinese media published an article about how dirty Dharamsala was. They were very angry, and at the same time they were very embarrassed. They started this project called the Clean Upper Dharamsala Project. And that started from 2011, and ever since 2011, compared to the other cities in India, it's a very clean city. I must say, honestly, it doesn't reach the standards of Japan.
Tashi Dorji and Youngsen place the goods they purchased in Delhi in the small warehouse they rented and hastily start preparing for their stalls. The couple each has a stall in the main street of Dharamsala. The main customers are tourists. The whole street is filled with stalls that sell traditional Tibetan handicrafts, Tibetan medicine, and Buddhist instruments. Sales of such goods are the main source of income for the Tibetan community. During the tourist high season from March to August is what the livelihood of the entire Tibetan community in exile depends on.
lakwe sugyo chala yakshu mangshu kari timidu.
lakwa sikyo lakshe nganzo di dur pu su che ani pu shamu ani ngando sotal legyo ra sotal ni sotal pe yakko dur ani tan su legyo da chi re mishin legyo nganzo gawo chi mar yaksha pu shamu tang
야가지고 녀도 몰라 이제 지기도 와 가지게 미친 게나 키용 주만이 랍데 거라 야가 코나서 나로 망고요라 맞아 그때 오늘 코나 내가 통거라 코나서 오토티 거라 드링 사기 메나 생이 되고 거라 코나 뭐요 레나 코나서 드링 구고 메나 생이 양테 쳐라 드리피스 가질 피스 좀 시고라 녀나 아주 재밌게 그래 저거 아주 데가 레 오늘 뭐요 거라 코나서 때네 땅도 라벨레 교대 입체당 법벨레니요 가서 갈려 레게 간 망세기 레라 소소 나글레 치러라 홀셀 되기래 pe kale chembure pe mazi kale chembure te ngone kale pe na gunjong de soto yayu kale chembure jaga jayu na lo papa kanga ke ende kale janye yore papa senyi de goti ke
Dharamsala has all the conditions for a tourist destination. Beautiful scenery, rich Tibetan culture, religion, bed and breakfasts, and meditation retreats that have been popular in recent years. The endless stream of tourists have made Dharamsala a display window for exiled Tibetans to the world and a public opinion battlefield for international support and sympathy.
Any English-speaking person can go to Dharamsala and understand thoroughly. Every people that you meet there speaks English, and all the signs, they're all written in English. Government facilities especially, all the signs are written in English, more than the Tibetan language. And it's important for the Western people to recognize more than their own people.
Dilek Hospital is the best Western hospital for Tibetan exiles in India. It is also the largest public hospital for Tibetans in India. It has a good reputation and high ratings on many travel websites in the West.
All your 3 films are inside this.
Thank you so much.
You are most welcome. Okay.
Good evening.
Right.
Ali konda sani de
All of the Dilek Hospital's operating costs are funded by donations. Seeing a doctor here, regardless of nationality or ethnicity, only cost 40 rupees, or US 50 cents.
pesha yogo chigere yogo tourist da pesha yogo jora denzole kong challenge pesha mangalens khuzole keguji mare kya mangalen wes khaisna mengangi ke mission statement nalaya mi 상물로 찍고 채고 있어 저선 찍고 임어서 녜녜네 pesha yogo pesha mangalen da 뉴얼 메워서 되게 개면지 그 pesha 둘은 망고에다 그 지게는 연결은 망고에다 되는 거죠 큐니라 시신이에요 말했어
Although Dilek Hospital is the best Western hospital for Tibetan exiles in India, it is not even in the top 200 hospitals in India. In the summer of 2017, there were 45 beds and almost 50 staff members, including 7 Tibetan doctors and 16 Tibetan nurses.
It's more like a clinic or like a community hospital. They have a very well-trained doctors and nurses, but must say the medical instruments, the equipments that they use is still, I must say, it's a very old model.
Japanese director Tamio Ota was rushed to Dilek Hospital during filming in Dharamsala. He was diagnosed as having a heart attack by the hospital due to his rapid heartbeat and a sharp rise in blood pressure.
I returned to Japan and was finally diagnosed as Meniere's disease, which comes from the ears. My symptoms were more like having a heart attack. The doctor told me, where do you feel pain the most? And I said, here. I said, not here, here. So the doctors assumed that it was your heart. Dilek Hospital didn't have MRIs. I didn't see any CT. In the echoes, it didn't show anything wrong with my heart. And then they had no way of checking my brain. It's very difficult for what they have. And if I don't feel comfortable, they did recommend me. They did recommend me to go to the general hospital in Delhi. Delhi Hospital is more like the first stop for emergencies.
Okay.
Norbu House in the small alley may not look like much, but it is a big deal. From the hotel's balcony, you can see the Dalai Lama's residence. It has hosted many foreign delegations and celebrities and is one of the best hotels in Dharamsala. The owner of the hotel, Wangdu Saling, is a second-generation Tibetan born in India. He is known to be generous and very well respected in the community.
나의 호텔 침바 망불라 대가 두어래 아니 호텔 미지기 장막 룸 가져 수고에면 장막 예하고 배나 채셔나 다 나주 정간텔라 강바 숨주 속섬 열에 아니 텔라 강미 장막 중에 부무 쪽섬 열 자베 정가 야가 든줄나라 미지기 강바 주 용쇠를 정아 쪽게 니슈딘의 장막 수고도 와라 디시조 지난 예들라 부무 실을 하고 왜 요말 이내 얘들 부모 쪽섬 요래 가있으나 다 찍는다 얘기 다찍 유미 부모 좀 냠다 제 딘졸레 내가 직 펜도나산에 앵에 유미 튠데레 가리네 자가 동세 다찍 교우 품 김에든조 망고질 당보 숨시시 요마시 요마레 디네 지기티요 야구도 양 따데 내가 지게 정말 낭민나시 좋아지니 내가 지게 장장이 아니 디 품에 망고질라 내가 때투와디 아니 가서도 아니 디가라 아니.
That is how the 27-year-old Pempa Tashi came to work at Norbu House.
My artist.
When Pempa Tashi was 7 years old, he followed a group of adults over the Himalayas to India. He had studied painting in the temple for a few years, so now he is a painter at Norbu House.
수술 모랑게 라인 나도나 수술지 새로운 망슈 등에 단다 되게 윤종도 상황이 되고 가슈 되겠지 지게가 또 속에 보달라다 양주 고발다
보달라 문제보다 도움이
티티리 단단한 것들아 직 라자도지 야기 동네 뉴스도 요거 단단히 딜라 맹도 소트나 아니 슈망하게 디 참에서 하마라 말하기 제시도 인도주 두즈나 참지 베베기 윤종장장 다 아니 라마이 쿠바다 딜리샤 양지 제남다 에너지 담살라 모기 갤러리 아트 갤러리 당가 동서 정말 여버라 댕도르 모기 근데 민중다 에너지 지음다 엔디시 담살라지
I was very surprised when Pempa sent me a message asking for a donation. He was invited to this art festival, which is going to be held in Spain. I'm sure he's sent to many other people. It was very brief, very short. Japanese are very shy people. We cannot ask anybody who we know for 7 days for money. Maybe for him it was a very normal thing. I've seen as the CTA is heavily sponsored. Almost all of the people in the exile community have either something to do with the donations or is involved or have some part of it. I'll say, I'll try, I'll look into it, but he didn't go to Spain, as far as I know.
ini 직 잼드다 ini 총강다 사모님 보여지 된대지 당한 미때 다랑지 tapi dugu yomete hago marana remote ta mi ola dedena yungo mara marata lokhaji silaji ting titsrawena remote 직 아주 벽에 직
Descending from Upper Dharamsala, where the exiled Tibetans live, and through local Indian residents in Lower Dharamsala, we arrive at the outskirt of Dharamsala and see a group of buildings amongst the mountains. This is the only building seen in Dharamsala where Tibetan language is used on signs. This is the reception center for exiled Tibetans. Tibetans who have just fled to India will be sent here for review and documentation. Here is the starting point for their new life in India.
알레 타 당보 브라운즈 페니 타 술레고라 직스니스 고르규스를 파윌라라 아니 디니 아니 델리닐레 칸니 균 안데 담슬라닐레 칸레고레 안 델랑안조기 크라운즈 갸갈라 데초에기.
After relocation and an expansion, the current reception center is said to be able to accommodate 160 families at one time. However, in the summer of 2017, it is empty.
단다 내가 브링가 단다 미시레 아니라 직체 아니 낭미 아마 암라 빨란 모지 크로스 단다데 멘지 체체 데슈레 아니라 디 단다 이자 디스티게 마라 RCB 그 프로세스 도들 아니 디스웰라 타와 직스니스 고르규스 파일라라.
The Alien Registration Certificate is the most important document for exiled Tibetans in India and is also known as an RC. After getting their RC, Tibetans can enjoy almost the same rights as Indian citizens, except they cannot own land, become government civil servants, or have regular Indian passports.
kuma shona tangjo kuma de kyo kuma ko jan ti ma de tangbo arsi ko yele re ja ga ta ga re tangjo ko de ba arasi rasi de ba lam ga ni de na mi ji ne ma de ju ma ra ko za ma za ke ku ji me na ko la zi yo me ka ra ko ja re shi yo de na de ba de ara de tung de rasi de na iska arsi ga arsi check chi tangbo.
A lot of people call that a refugee certificate, which is wrong. The official name for RC is a registration certificate, and it applies to all foreigners living in India. India is not a ratified state country for the Refugee Convention of the United Nations because they had a lot of problems with the Bangladeshis in the 1950s. The word refugee doesn't apply in India.
On the wall of the reception center hangs many photographs. The photographs document scenes of the exiled Tibetans trekking over the Himalayas to arrive in India. Many people suffered severe frostbite, resulting in lifelong disabilities. There are stories that are even more tragic that are not documented by the camera.
Nge aja gembe mingla sije de. Lamga ne phön yung du ne lamga la lana la se de ne thong re.
Ta mi mang bu nyam bu ji pin je ni sa ro. Ji yong ni gang la ji ma ge la gang nang la sa song la song a. Gang nang la sa ni gang la ta thak ba ji tang thak ba di ge lama ki thak ba zo ta ji yo ma lama ke ji ni gang nang la pe ta sa cha. 사차니 강라니 미망게 야 텐니 강라 라마키 주송아 이그마조 땅아마 이그마 이글라군도 공단 콩차니지 아니 강강라 보모지 빈자니 어다 모랑가 아자 도스지니 강강니 셔송지 다 동티 셰고레 띵이 통요 말다 니 시아 컴보니 사라 렘니 카트라 가야 먹게 싹다요 통송아 가서 땅보갑라
Sering Yangzan has been in India for nearly 20 years. Her mother died when she was young and her father left home. In order to escape abuse from her aunt, Sering Yangzan left Tibet for India at the age of 9 and encountered the most horrible incident of her childhood.
Na undi na mangche mi gemba che kusho che and gonda jula jortu nga nepali pu ni yora chini kunjuni nga la mi chik za chesra mi chik za le cheso ni khangba den ro tu thushi ro jing na le ches an min khangba den ni de ni do ra gonda nga ni ku to nga ma ni do chin de da an de mi de la ni de ni do ra an ni de ni da nguni jin de su su nyera mi te nga yem de nyera li de an nga shesra nga ngui ba chen chen nga ni me chen chen nga go de ro get ro jik du de gon che mi do ra an de dam la chen chen nga go la tham ching ngui de ba.
The building next to the reception center is the Tibetan Transit School. The school was opened in the 1970s, and its mission is to provide vocational training for young Tibetans that are new here.
Dela loma legun da lo chidangi loje chani lo chupki ni sumju bache chukye dungge gege mangshu gege dendele thuzu ji do yina da thandi chala ngzu lobde dina loma gubju goni ye gubju goni ne phutu ju re tuk che ani pomu ni shu tse tuk ro changa pomu ni tse tuk ye kadu yina ya loma na pomu nyunga yure ni don digmu do ina pugu yo lore le yongge mangbu shu ji resha ni don chungi nang la pugu gya zas le so dene choksom lagi ta kya chas ro chre te dine ma pu ngam chu nge ta che ni don chu tu la pu di ni don chu tu ina yan tis pu ship chu chas le so ni don chu nga de pu chu du chob ge ma shi me loji la yong ge ni don chu nga la pu nyu nyu shu chle se ta pe je naning di thungo an je gi den de chi gyu ni pas ra gyo mang bu che ni don chu nga da ji na ta da pu lo chu yong ge ko ra pu chob ge ma shi me wa dene ni don chu tu nang lo la pu ship chu she rang su le bi so yonggi pu ship chu she rang su chung su.
The Tibetan Transit School provides training in language, computer, cooking, sewing, and more. Students stay from 3 to 8 years. After graduation, students join the service industries as chefs, tailors, beauticians, hairdressers, and painters. Dam Choi Thin Lei is 25 years old and has been studying in the Tibetan Transit School for 11 years.
Tatatangan ina ta lo thama de chawe padan dilo lo thama ta lo chi majil ha me ngata tan zida juni ne yo ani nga chogi la jom she ta poi ti zi ja ani te de nyam bo yin ji ti zi ja ina ta maung ba nga rong ge phuson je ra a te de nyam bo cha nyam bo yo zang ani ta nga ro chutom poi te ta nga ro poba gi ke tambo de indi chamba ani ma chane ji su poke she ani poi te ti zi ja de te indu shida shu ja go me pe zon da ji du an ta ina yin ji te ta nga ro su ge je she ai na ta ke ni ba cha ora tambo le de te zi ja la ka ngen du da ina ya shu ja ni jong du chamba she ya dus ani ten ji de chamba nga yin ji ja ta shi she is ta yin ji jong ne yo jong sa ji go ora atindi in the tsamba tanga di habdan dinung zune ane tata in jam tendi chen dewas anata good morning.
Good morning. Sit down. Okay. All of you are present. Tamji?
Yes.
Gensis ring? Okay. Yeah. Now take out your textbooks.
My dream is simple, is just to move to USA. The first thing is I don't have any relatives here, include my parents. And the second thing is I don't speak Hindi. And third thing is here, if you want to live, it's very difficult. There is less job opportunities and there is
you know, I also don't have that much connection with different people. Unlike the journey from Tibet to India, we can, you know, just cross the mountains and the rivers. It's not like this. We need the documents, the good documents, and for that good documents, it takes time. Gashute basketballing ball around. The shitong atsum dine zimun mambu tsegi chachin tindi yo mare. Ani ina ya ball tsegi chachin de yora dang atsum dine shinyi de zanna suku team in the US ball tsegi suku team in the US. And dine lochi ball tsegi da suku team dine ball tsegi is. Danga gashute zimun ono gashute basketballing and non-ju de chitong ball gi la tono te de NBA yara ta tendri la tono pe NBA kita polo tseni tendri la pe gao yes and tendri la tono pe chembo yes.
Dam Choi Thin-lei is the youngest in the family. He was only 14 when he left home. He still doesn't quite understand why his parents sent him to India alone.
Ta tombo le de nga chunchura one tombo le de semba cho de su yen no yeje ge shangchung ta care the love yara te kanga la do ra te ma chi shu sa ba re chwa sa ba re ndi no no kong go de kong khala ka go de lo chunchung de te de do sons ta yin na yo nga chum phama de nyam bo thang ge yo de chamba bet ko chi ka lo ka de na milon ta do ta ani Chances kishisi du kozo tepe se duya kishan ra tandria shea yora tandri kos michu shua tandri pendus.
Family is not always what triggers the sadness and tears. Sometimes it's the discrimination one suffers from their own kind to being an outsider.
Loptola drucha shananda the dudu was the pin lig mangbo beara. Don't wape maur kashing on the pel dudu ku namshi tangmu chen. Khala saya dundu thangma pe shuk chimbo yora sham to rangshi mau chai ta chi yora chi semba na le phoktu to le ta semba ro kyo ta dinde yungu da.
Whether it is a new Tibetan exile or an exile who has settled in India for some time, they must all bear the insults and resentment of being in a country that is not their own.
I got, often abused verbally in Dharamsala, either in restaurant or in a bus or basically anywhere. 1997, somewhere in June, in a bus near Meglotganj, there was this little Tibetan boy with his mother, and this Indian man, probably Gadi man, probably about 40 years or so, he basically, tried to yank that boy out of the chair so he could sit. So he abused him verbally. He threatened him, and he slapped him, left and right. That's when I said, enough is enough. And then we had a fight. Again, they all, ganged up upon me, and I got beaten into unconsciousness. I still remember they would scream, Maro. Maro is like beat, free for all now. Here's a Tibetan, Tibetan motherfucker, beat him. And this I never forget.
A report published in 2016 by the US-based Tibet Justice Center shows that since the 1980s, the relationship between Tibetans in exile and Indians has become increasingly tense and violent, and hostility erupted occasionally. In recent years, the anti-Tibetan sentiment has appeared as part of a general animus towards immigrant groups. 1994, April, in Dharamsala, the violence erupted after a Tibetan youth stabbed an Indian taxi driver to death during a dispute. Indian mob looted Tibetan-owned stores and burned Tibetan government offices. The Indian government even temporarily closed the reception center in Dharamsala. In November 1999, the Dalai Lama considered relocating some of the CTA's offices and his private residence out of Dharamsala, as the growing tension between the locals and the Tibetans were becoming a cause of worry. However, ultimately the plan was put on hold. In 2008, the tensions between Indians and Tibetans escalated again. After frequent violent clashes, Tibetans launched an action to boycott Indian taxis. In Manali in the north, Bundila in the northeast, and Mysore in the south, a large number of Tibetan shops were burned or looted.
When we had a situation like this in 1994, Tibetan government was completely unprepared. Any time when the Tibetan Welfare Office shows up at the scene, the damage is already done. They hide it, they don't talk about it, because they're afraid of offending the host. And I don't agree with that. Thank you, host, for letting us stay in. But if you rape us, we got to speak up.
In 2015 October, another Tibetan young man was killed in Dharamsala.
The three boys were drunk and followed the two Tibetans while passing comments on them.
A Tibetan couple were stopped and harassed by 3 Indian natives when they returned home one night. The 29-year-old Tibetan male was stabbed to death on the spot. The 3 Indians were sentenced to life imprisonment 2 years later.
It was more or less a kind of a blind murder case, and on the basis of clues provided by a witness, we identified 3 possible accused persons.
So there's a sense of hatred and a sense of anti-Tibetans, and also I guess is all because of drugs or because of the alcohol and all that makes that happen.
I found it very odd because we hired a fixer and he was Indian. We were trying to get the information about the murder case. Every time this happened, we were stopped by the fixer. And then he said, everything's all settled. They don't want the foreigners to hear about this. Tibetans, basically, they keep their mouth shut. They're very smart. They're very wise, They try not to make that as a big issue. Now, they're living under the Indian land.
I hated that. That sense of homelessness, that sense of statelessness.
지나게 가서 수수 나는 요 말에 군대 매나 가서 대고 매라 강라 대디고라 되게 요 말 칼 사다기를 좀 되니라 가도 패블은 죽라는 로셔저래.
Entering Dharamsala, we peel away the layers shrouding this mysterious little town in the Far East. What other stories about the 60 years of exile are waiting to be revealed?